Now, we've all heard of first daughter Ivanka Trump, but what about Marina Mahathir, a writer, activist, and the eldest daughter of the newly re-elected Malaysian Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad? She is not one to shy away from the spotlight. Vocal about human rights and her defense of the LGBT community, despite homosexuality being illegal in the country, she's well known for directly criticizing her father's government. Well, I'm pleased to say that Marina Mahathir joins me now live on the program. Thank you so much for coming in and speaking with us today. Now, let's first remind viewers about what's been going on with Malaysian politics, because it sometimes reads like a house of cards. I mean, your father, at the age of 93, has been re-elected as Prime Minister. He ruled Malaysia, of course, for over 20 years until 2003. He's back. He campaigned alongside his former nemesis, Anwar Ibrahim, who he had jailed. And so, of course, a lot of the questions being asked now is, when will he step aside to make way for Anwar Ibrahim? After all, he is 93.
Well, his campaign promise was that he would stay for 2 years and then Anwar would then take over. So it's only been 5 months, right. So I guess we have about 1.5 years to go. And there's several steps to take, of course. Anwar has to be elected again into a parliamentary seat.
Right, which is due to happen. He says he'll be back by October.
He's just announced that one of the MPs is going to step down and he'll take over that, or he will stand in that constituency, Port Dickson, and then we'll see how it goes. Yeah.
Right. Now, of course, the main reason why your father's been re-elected, this shock victory in May, was because of, to a great extent, the 1MDB scandal. This is the state fund, of course, where the former Prime Minister Najib was accused of stealing millions from. Of course, he's denied it, saying that actually the money that was found in his account was a donation. Najib's lawyer's just been arrested this week, so there are lots of concerns about whether the former Prime Minister will get a fair trial in an atmosphere that's been described as something of a witch hunt. So will he?
Well, I don't know if witch hunt is a fair word to use. The police has been investigating. There's a lot of evidence out there. The US Department of Justice has a lot of evidence. And the new Attorney General, Tommy Thomas, is really making sure that everything is in place for a fair trial. And he's appointed two lawyers, private lawyers, who are very, very experienced. And, we think it's, it should be a fair trial. I think, without prejudging it, the evidence seems to be overwhelming. But, we will just go through a trial. And who knows, we have a very strict judge, as far as I know. And if the evidence doesn't add up, then he'll just say it doesn't add up.
Yeah. But I mean, obviously, there's a lot of anger in Malaysia. Actually, my mother's family is a lot of them are still there. There's a great deal of anger, I happen to know, and a lot of people want to be vindicated. They want to see their former prime minister behind bars because of revelations that have come out of millions of dollars worth of handbags, jewelry being found in properties linked to them. I mean, it is an extraordinary story.
It is, and everyone wants to see them in jail. But, Pakatan Harapan came in on the promise of the rule of law, and therefore we will follow the law and do everything properly, because we don't want to be, I'm not saying I'm not the government, but this government doesn't want to be like the last government.
Okay. Now let's talk about your role, because for years now you've been writing a column, you've been very forthright in your views. We know, of course, that Malaysia is a very conservative society, so taking on the subject of defending homosexual rights, women's rights, that's always been seen as somewhat controversial, and you've been criticised in the past for doing it as well. It's a very brave move, isn't it, to speak out for women and gay rights?
Well, I suppose so. I'm really talking about human rights, and whether you're female or male, and whatever your sexuality, you're a human being. So you're entitled to the same rights as any other human being. And we have a constitution that guarantees equality before the law. And I'm just calling on people, particularly the authorities, to follow the law. It's about the rule of law.
And indeed, I mean, just recently there was a ruling which saw 2 women caned for homosexual acts in the state of Terengganu. I mean, will you see much change happening in Malaysia in terms of the kind of strict Islamic laws, the Sharia laws? Is there progress being made there?
Well, I think we should note that that happened in a state that is ruled by the opposition Islamic Party. And I think it was an attempt to assert their authority in the face of this new government, which promises to be more open, more progressive, more democratic. Right. So it was a kind of a provocation. And the federal government has said that they did not approve of it, did not condone it, because under the Constitution, women cannot be caned. And, basically we want to get rid of corporal punishment altogether for anyone. And that's the issue. It's never been done before that women are being caned in public and everything. And
so a long way to go before Malaysia truly becomes a modern society, you would say?
No, I wouldn't say. I think that's an isolated case on the East Coast. Which
and you're optimistic about the
been,
future of your country?
I'm pretty optimistic, yes.
Right.
I think there are lots of good signs.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for coming in and speaking with us today. Marina Mahathir, of course, the first daughter of Malaysia.
Thank you.
Well, you're watching Newsday on the BBC. Still to come on the programme, we'll take you to Vostok, where Russia is holding its biggest military exercise since the Cold War.